What if I told you a group of hackers, backed by one of the world's most secretive regimes, pulled off the biggest crypto heist in history, right under everyone's nose? This is the $600 million Axie Infinity heist. The masterminds behind this record-breaking cyber heist were none other than the Lazarus Group, a shadowy collective of elite hackers operating under the directive of North Korea's intelligence agency, the Reconnaissance General Bureau. These are not your average cybercriminals. They've been linked to some of the most high-profile digital attacks in the world, from the Sony Pictures hack in 2014 to the WannaCry ransomware outbreak in 2017. Their mission? To fund the isolated regime's nuclear ambitions through unconventional warfare by stealing cryptocurrency, breaching banks, and manipulating digital systems worldwide. But they weren't the only players in this digital drama. On the other end of the spectrum was Sky Mavis, the Vietnamese company behind the popular blockchain-based game Axie Infinity. The game had become a global sensation, especially in countries like the Philippines, where thousands of players earned real income by battling digital monsters. By 2022, Axie Infinity's ecosystem was booming, with over $4 billion in NFT transactions. But that success came with a dangerous vulnerability. A decentralized system built quickly to meet demand, and a security structure the hackers would soon exploit. In March 2022, the world woke up to shocking news. Axie Infinity had been hacked, and over $600 million worth of cryptocurrency was gone, vanished from the game's blockchain bridge, like a puff of smoke. Specifically, the attackers stole 173,600 Ethereum and 25.5 million USDC, two of the most valuable digital assets at the time. The breach wasn't immediately detected. In fact, it took 6 full days before Sky and Mavis even realized that their digital vault had been emptied. For a game that relied on blockchain transparency, this was more than just a theft. It was a wake-up call. What made this attack especially terrifying wasn't just the size of the theft. It was the method. The hackers didn't use brute force or flashy malware. Instead, they used social engineering and patience, worming their way into Sky Mavis network by tricking employees and exploiting weak links in the validation process of the game's Ronin bridge, a sidechain that connects Axie Infinity's system to the Ethereum blockchain. With just 5 out of 9 validated nodes, they approved massive withdrawals without anyone noticing. It was digital espionage at its most dangerous and most devastating. The heist officially occurred on March 23rd, 2022, but no alarms went off. No alerts, no red flags, just silence. On that day, the hackers executed 2 unauthorized transactions, draining hundreds of millions in crypto from the Ronin network, the blockchain bridge that connected Axie Infinity's in-game economy to the broader Ethereum ecosystem. Yet, no one at Sky Mavis noticed, because everything appeared normal. The transactions looked valid on the surface, and since the validators were compromised, there were no internal checks left to stop them. Days passed. It wasn't until March 29th, 2022, 6 days later, that Sky Mavis made a chilling discovery. The bridge was missing funds. A user tried to withdraw 5,000 ETH and couldn't. That triggered a deep internal review, and soon, the harsh truth came to light. Sky Mavis immediately froze the bridge, disabled transactions, and issued a public statement. But by then, it was too late. The money was already long gone, scattered across wallets and blockchain mixers to hide the trail. What's more alarming is the timing in a global context. At the time, crypto markets were booming. NFT gaming was at its peak, and North Korea was facing crippling sanctions and economic isolation. The regime needed cash, fast, and had already pivoted to cybercrime as its main source of foreign income. The March 2022 hack wasn't just random. It was a strategic strike during a moment when the world was distracted by crypto hype, and that made it the perfect cover for the Lazarus Group to strike hard, fast, and vanish. Although the heist was digital, its impact was felt across multiple continents. The primary target was the Ronin network, a blockchain bridge developed by Sky Mavis, headquartered in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. This network was the backbone of Axie Infinity's play-to-earn economy, allowing users to move assets, like Ethereum, between the Axie universe and the broader crypto world. It wasn't just a side feature, it was the financial lifeline of the entire game. And this very bridge, ironically designed to offer players more freedom and lower transaction fees, became the weak point Lazarus Group would exploit. But the true location of the crime was much harder to pinpoint. The Lazarus Group operated remotely, most likely from within Pyongyang, North Korea, though their digital footprints bounced across Europe, Asia, and even the United States, routed through compromised IPs, VPNs, and cryptocurrency mixers. This is a terrifying power of cyber warfare. It's borderless. The attackers never had to set foot near Sky Mavis's offices. They launched their operation from thousands of miles away, slipping past firewalls and validation systems with surgical precision, and the consequences were global. Victims of the heist included Axie players in the Philippines, crypto investors in the U.S., and even institutions indirectly tied to the blockchain. The decentralized nature of Web3 meant that this wasn't just a hit on one company. It was a hit on trust, on the security of an entire emerging financial system. What started as a digital breach in Vietnam quickly turned into an international cybercrime investigation, pulling in government agencies from the FBI to Interpol and shaking confidence in the very idea of decentralized finance. The heist happened for one core reason: money and survival. North Korea is one of the most heavily sanctioned countries in the world. It cannot freely trade, borrow money, or participate in global financial markets. So, to fund its nuclear weapons program and maintain internal control, the regime turned to cybercrime as a new form of warfare. The Lazarus Group became its invisible army, targeting banks, crypto platforms, and even individual users. Unlike traditional warfare, this battlefield requires no tanks, just computers, brains, and a motive. And Axie Infinity, with its fast-growing, multi-billion-dollar digital economy, was a perfect target. But this attack wasn't just about money. It exposed a massive vulnerability in the world of decentralized finance, DeFi. Blockchain is often praised for its transparency and security, but what many forget is that bridges, which connect different blockchains, are still experimental and often less secure than the chains themselves. The Ronin bridge had been built quickly to support the explosive growth of Axie Infinity, and in the rush to scale, security was compromised. All it took was social engineering and the compromise of 5 validated nodes for the entire system to crumble. This matters because it sent shockwaves through the crypto community and beyond. It raised urgent questions. Can we really trust decentralized platforms? Who is responsible when things go wrong in a trustless system? And what happens when a rogue state can exploit these platforms to bypass international sanctions? The Axie Infinity hack was a warning, a signal that while the future of finance may be digital, it's far from secure. It showed that blockchain is not immune to old-school espionage. Only now, the battlefield is invisible and the stakes are higher than ever. The attack unfolded like a perfectly timed digital ambush. Months before the hack, the Lazarus Group had been preparing. They reportedly used fake job offers on LinkedIn to lure Sky Mavis developers into downloading malware. One engineer received a PDF for a fake job at a major company, but embedded in that file was spyware that gave the hackers access to critical internal systems. Once inside, they waited, patiently observing, learning the layout of the Ronin Bridge's validator system. And then, on March 23rd, with 5 compromised validator keys in hand, they struck. 2 massive unauthorized withdrawals were executed and verified by the very system designed to prevent such attacks. When the breach was discovered 6 days later, chaos erupted behind the scenes. Sky Mavis immediately paused the Ronin Bridge, notified law enforcement, and began working with blockchain forensic firms like Chainalysis. The FBI quickly got involved and later officially blamed the Lazarus Group, linking the stolen funds to known North Korean wallet addresses. Some of the funds were traced as they moved through Tornado Cash, a crypto mixer used to obscure transactions. But while small portions of the stolen money were recovered, the vast majority, hundreds of millions, remain unrecoverable, either laundered or stored in cold wallets outside regulatory reach. In the aftermath, Sky Mavis raised $150 million in emergency funding, led by Binance, to compensate affected users and rebuild the network. They also overhauled the Ronin Bridge's security, increasing the number of validated nodes and implementing more rigorous monitoring. But the damage was done. Trust had been shaken, and the crypto world had learned a harsh lesson. Not even blockchain is bulletproof. This wasn't just a cybercrime. It was a geopolitical statement. North Korea had found a way to hack the future of finance, and no one saw it coming. In a world rushing toward decentralization, the Axie Infinity heist reminds us a chilling truth. Technology may evolve, but human weakness remains the greatest vulnerability. North Korea didn't just steal money, they hijacked trust. As we build a digital future, one question echoes louder than ever. How do we secure a world without borders, when the enemies are already inside the code? Thanks for watching. If this story fascinated you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More true cybercrime documentaries are on the way. Until then, stay curious and stay safe out there in the digital wild.